Keiko is 79 years old. Every morning before the sun clears the rooftops of Kyoto, she lights the stove, adds a cup of short-grain rice to 7 cups of water, and lets it simmer. Slowly. She does not rush this. While it cooks, she dissolves a spoonful of dark miso paste into a bowl of warm water. She places 2 small pickled plums on a dish. She batches a cup of matcha with a bamboo whisk. 40 minutes later, she sits down. No phone, no television. 4 simple foods. Silence. Keiko has eaten this exact breakfast for over 50 years. Her blood pressure last year was 118/74. She takes no medication. She calls it nothing special, just breakfast. Keiko is not an exception in her community. Researchers studying elderly populations in Kyoto and Kamakura have consistently found something that Western medicine struggles to explain. The average person over 75 in these communities maintains cardiovascular markers that are considered exceptional for people decades younger. No expensive protocols, no specialized supplements. And here is the number that makes physicians pause. Over 71% of Americans 60 and older now live with hypertension. In a 2021 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers confirmed that Japan has held the highest life expectancy in the G7 since the 1980s. And the dietary pattern was identified as a key differentiating factor. The difference may start with what they eat before the day begins. Now, this video is educational. If you have diagnosed hypertension or take any medication, please talk with your doctor before making dietary changes. What I am going to show you is a practice of support and prevention, not a replacement for medical care. Here is what the next 15 minutes looks like. First, we will look at the foundation of this breakfast, and the first component you can start tomorrow. Around minute 9, I will show you the one thing most people never expect about miso, the salt paradox that Japanese researchers have spent years documenting. Around minute 11, you will understand why this costs less per day than a single cup of coffee. And by minute 13, I want to come back to something that happened in the year 1214, a story about a ruler, a monk, and a bowl of porridge, because it changes how you will see this entire practice. Let's start at the beginning. In the district of Higashiyama in Kyoto, monks at Tofukuji Monastery have been waking before dawn for over 600 years. The first meal of the day is served between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning, before meditation, before any other obligation. That meal is called choshuku. It translates simply as morning porridge. The system of eating in these monasteries follows a practice called jihatsu, 5 nested lacquered bowls brought to the meditation hall, eaten in complete silence. Each person receives exactly what is served, nothing more. The meal ends when each bowl is rinsed with warm water. That water is then drunk. Nothing is wasted. This is not asceticism. It is precision. And the 4 foods served every morning are the same 4 Keiko prepares in her kitchen today. The first is Okayu, rice porridge. The word kayu means gruel in its simplest translation, but that translation does not do it justice. Okayu is made with short-grain rice and 5 to 7 parts water, cooked low and slow for 30 minutes until the grains dissolve into something soft, warm, and deeply soothing. In Japanese medicine, Okayu is prescribed to the elderly, to those recovering from illness, and to anyone whose digestive system needs care. It is the first food given to children, and the last food eaten by those who are unwell. Here is why it matters for blood pressure. When rice is cooked at that ratio, 1 part grain, 7 parts water, the glycemic load drops significantly compared to regular cooked rice. The starch gelatinizes differently. Glucose enters the bloodstream more slowly. No morning insulin spike. No inflammatory cascade that follows a sugar crash. And a single bowl provides 300 to 400 milliliters of gentle hydration, at the moment of day when dehydration is highest and blood viscosity is at its thickest. Thicker blood requires more pressure to circulate. Okayu addresses that before the day starts. Try this tomorrow morning. Use 1 cup of short-grain sushi rice, the round, starchy variety, and add 5 cups of cold water to a saucepan. Bring it to a gentle simmer, then reduce the heat to the lowest setting. Cover loosely and let it cook for 25 to 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. If you have leftover rice from the night before, add 3 parts water and it cooks in 15 minutes. What you are looking for is a soft, creamy consistency, almost like a loose porridge. Season it with a pinch of sesame seeds or a strip of nori if the plain flavor is unfamiliar at first. The first thing most people notice after a week of this breakfast is not dramatic. It is quieter than that. They stop feeling the 10 o'clock crash. The need for a second coffee fades. The morning feels steadier. That stability is the Okayu working, not a spike and drop, but a slow, sustained release of energy. A common mistake at this stage is rushing the cook. 20 minutes is not enough. The transformation of the starch happens in that final stretch of slow heat. Give it the full 30 minutes, at least 3 mornings this week, and notice the difference. The second element of this system deserves its own moment, and also a question I want you to hold until minute 9. Now that you understand what Okayu does for your morning blood sugar and hydration, add the second component, miso shiru, miso soup. 1 tablespoon of unpasteurized miso paste, dissolved in 250 milliliters of water, heated to about 70 degrees Celsius, not boiling. Boiling water destroys the living cultures inside the miso. You want warm, not scalded. Look for the word unpasteurized on the label, sometimes written as nama miso. If you can find a red miso or an awase blend at an Asian grocery, those tend to have the deepest fermentation and the most complex flavor. Dissolve the miso slowly. Watch it cloud the water. This is what 6 centuries of culinary refinement looks like in a single cup. Here is what I want you to try while the miso dissolves. Place the back of your hand flat on the table and pinch the skin gently. Watch how long it takes to return to position. Less than 1 second means your hydration is good. 1 to 2 seconds suggests mild dehydration that may be increasing vascular resistance right now. More than 2 seconds is a signal that your morning blood pressure reading may already be elevated simply by how thick your blood is overnight. This is one of the reasons the Okayu and the miso soup work together. The Okayu hydrates the body. The miso, and this is the paradox I promised you, does something unexpected. Miso contains somewhere between 600 and 900 milligrams of sodium per serving. Any cardiologist following standard Western guidelines would flag that number. And yet a study published in Hypertension Research by Nature in 2019 followed 40 subjects with stage 1 hypertension for 8 weeks. 2 servings of miso per day. The result was a significant reduction in nighttime blood pressure at 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. without affecting daytime readings. Nighttime blood pressure is the reading that matters most for long-term arterial damage. It is the pressure your vessels endure for 6 to 8 hours without a break. The mechanism is fermentation. During the months-long process that turns soybeans into miso, specific peptides form. These peptides inhibit an enzyme called ACE, angiotensin-converting enzyme. ACE inhibitors are one of the most commonly prescribed classes of blood pressure medication in the world. The fermented soy creates a natural version of that same mechanism. The sodium in miso does not behave like table salt. The fermentation context changes everything. This is what Keiko knows without knowing the biochemistry. She has watched her mother make this soup, and her mother watched hers. What they observed across generations is what researchers confirmed in 2019. Now add the third component, tsukemono, fermented vegetables. Start with umeboshi, the pickled plum. You will find them in any Asian grocery store, usually in a small jar. 1 or 2 of these small, intensely sour, deeply salty plums alongside your Okayu in the morning delivers something remarkable. Plant-based lactobacillus that survives the acid environment of your stomach and reaches your intestine alive. Most yogurts cannot say that. The dairy-based lactobacillus in standard probiotic yogurts is largely neutralized by stomach acid before it gets anywhere useful. The lactobacillus in fermented rice bran vegetables has evolved over centuries to survive that journey. If umeboshi is too intense at first, and it is an acquired taste, start with a slice of takuan, pickled daikon radish. The yellow, lightly sweet crunch is a much gentler entry point. The gut-heart axis is not a new concept in research. The bacteria living in your intestinal tract regulate systemic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of arterial stiffness and elevated blood pressure. You are not just eating breakfast. You are shifting the internal environment that governs how your cardiovascular system operates for the next 24 hours. I mentioned at minute 3 that this is about the paradox of sodium. Now you understand it. The question is never just what is in the food. It is what form that substance takes after fermentation. That is the insight that separates the Rinzai monk's breakfast from the Western one. You started this morning with Okayu, steady glucose, deep hydration, no morning insulin spike. You added Miso, ACE inhibition, nighttime blood pressure protection, microbial richness. You placed 2 umeboshi on the side. Now comes the 4th component. The one monk Isai crossed an ocean to bring home. Matcha. In 1191, a Zen monk named Myoan Eisai returned to Japan from China carrying something in a small bag. Tea seeds. He planted them in the hills of Uji, outside Kyoto, the region that still produces the world's finest matcha today. In 1211, at 70 years old, Eisai wrote Japan's first health text. He called it the Kissa Yojoki, Record of Drinking Tea for Health. The opening line reads, "Tea is the supreme medicine and has the capacity to make life fuller." Now here is the question I opened at minute 6, and the story I promised at minute 13. 3 years after the Kissa Yojoki was written, the ruler of Japan, Shogun Minamoto Sanetomo, was drinking himself into collapse every night. Eisai, then 73 years old, was summoned. He did not arrive with a prescription. He prepared the breakfast. Okayu, miso, pickled plum, a bowl of fresh matcha, whisked carefully. He placed a copy of his book beside the bowl. The shogun recovered. The breakfast became the diet of the imperial court. 600 years before the first controlled trial on blood pressure and tea, a monk prescribed what 24 randomized clinical studies have since confirmed. A meta-analysis published in Medicine Journal in 2020, covering 1,697 subjects across 24 trials, found that green tea consumption produced a statistically significant reduction in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. A second umbrella review in 2022 synthesized 13 prior meta-analyses covering nearly 25,000 adults and found consistent reductions in blood pressure, total cholesterol, and LDL. The mechanism is EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. Matcha contains 3 times more EGCG than regular sencha tea. EGCG activates the production of nitric oxide in the cells lining your blood vessels. Nitric oxide causes those vessels to dilate. Wider vessels, lower resistance, lower pressure. No side effects. And the practice of preparing matcha slowly, whisking it with a bamboo chasen in a quiet kitchen, reduces cortisol. Cortisol elevates blood pressure. The ritual of preparation is inseparable from the benefit. To prepare matcha simply, sift half a teaspoon of matcha powder into a warmed cup. Add 80 milliliters of water at 70 to 80 degrees, not boiling, never boiling, and whisk in a quick M shape or zigzag motion for 20 to 30 seconds until frothy. A bamboo whisk is ideal, but a small milk frother works. Drink it slowly. There is no rush. If you are sensitive to caffeine, matcha contains roughly 70 milligrams per serving, less than a standard coffee at 95. If that is still too much, sencha, brewed from whole leaves, contains significantly less and retains many of the same benefits. The complete Rinzai breakfast, all 4 components, takes between 20 and 40 minutes to prepare, depending on your system. Here is how to make it sustainable. In your first week, Tier 1. Prepare only the Okayu and a cup of green tea. Replace whatever you currently eat for breakfast 5 mornings out of 7. That is the only change. Keep everything else the same. Within 7 days, most people notice that the 10 a.m. energy drop is quieter or gone entirely. Within 14 days, the flavor shift from sweet to umami starts to feel natural rather than strange. In your second week through second month, Tier 2. Add the miso soup and 1 or 2 pieces of umeboshi or takuan. Upgrade from teabag green tea to matcha powder. Watch the sequence. Okayu first, then miso, then tsukemono, then matcha. In that order, the way it is served in the monastery. By 30 days, many people report less morning bloating and a more regular digestive pattern. Sleep quality often improves, which makes sense, given what the miso is doing to nighttime blood pressure. By 90 days, Tier 3, the practice becomes its own reward. The palate has shifted. The body expects these 4 foods. The preparation is no longer effort, it is ritual. And what a 2021 study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found is worth keeping in mind. The longevity difference between Japanese and Western populations is not genetic. When Japanese individuals emigrate to the United States and adopt a Western diet, their cardiovascular risk profile rises within a single generation. The protection is in the practice, not the bloodline. That means it is available to anyone. A common mistake at this stage is rushing to perfection. People decide they will do the full 40-minute monastery breakfast every single morning, miss 2 days, and conclude the practice failed. The monks have been doing this for 600 years. They did not get there in a week. Start with Okayu and tea. Let the other elements join gradually. Consistency at a simple level outperforms intensity, followed by abandonment. Remember at the beginning, Keiko in her kitchen before sunrise, the steam rising from the pot, the silence. She is not doing something extraordinary. She is doing something ordinary, done with care, done consistently, done for 50 years. That is the principle I promised you at minute 6. The Japanese word for it appears in the Hara Hachi Bu practice, eating to 80% fullness. But it runs through every aspect of the Rinzai morning. The principle is not discipline. It is not optimization. It is simply this. Your body responds to what you do consistently, not to what you do perfectly once. Western wellness culture sold many of us the idea that dramatic change requires dramatic effort, an expensive protocol, a precise supplement schedule, a new system, a new device, a new plan. The Rinzai breakfast costs less than $2 per serving. The 4 ingredients are the most affordable items in any Asian grocery store. The preparation requires a pot, a cup, a spoon. That is all. This is what I mentioned at minute 11. The reason simplicity is not a consolation prize. It is the feature. Complexity fails. Simplicity sustains. Here is what to do now. Today, within the next few hours if you can, find short-grain sushi rice and a box of green tea bags. That is all you need for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, cook the Okayu. 30 minutes, low heat, 1 cup rice, 5 cups water. Brew a cup of green tea. Sit down without your phone for 10 minutes while you eat. That is your Tier 1. This week, practice that 5 mornings. Notice the mid-morning energy. Notice how your stomach feels 2 hours after eating compared to your usual breakfast. Next week, find miso paste. Look for unpasteurized on the label. Add it 3 mornings. Dissolve it in warm, not boiling, water. This month, experiment with umeboshi. 1 jar. 2 plums beside your Okayu. The flavor will surprise you. That is a sign your palate is adjusting, not that something is wrong. One gentle warning. If you are currently taking ACE inhibitor medication for blood pressure, speak with your physician before adding daily miso to your diet. The ACE-like activity of fermented soy can combine with pharmaceutical ACE inhibitors. Your doctor should know about this change. That conversation matters. If you want more of this, Japanese daily practices for healthy aging, rooted in tradition and supported by science. Subscribe to The Zen Way. We publish one video per week, and everyone is built the same way. Real cultural practices, real studies, real results you can start this week. Which of the 4 components will you begin with? Drop it in the comments. Whether it is the Okayu, the Miso, the Tsukemono, or the Matcha, every step toward this system is a step in the right direction. If someone in your life is navigating high blood pressure or simply wants to age with more grace and less struggle, share this video with them. Wherever you are watching from, the practice is available to you. The ingredients are affordable. The time investment is modest. Keiko does not think of her breakfast as a health intervention. She thinks of it as the way morning begins. And for 79 years, that has been enough. Your body remembers how to be well. Sometimes it just needs the right conditions in the morning to remember.